Yeah, so hi everyone. Our topic of research was shared heritage in classical music. And as an example, we took a deeper look on the West-Eastern Divan Orchestra. So now I want to give you a quick overview and an introduction to the orchestra, and then we will show you a 15-minute interview we did with one of the musicians earlier in this year. Yeah, so the topic of shared heritage can be examined in three different ways on the West-Eastern Divan Orchestra: from an aesthetic perspective, a political perspective, and an individual perspective. And now I would like to give you a short overview of the orchestra and Daniel Barenboim's intentions with it. So here to illustrate all this, here you can see Daniel Barenboim, who is the founder, one of the founders of the orchestra. Yeah, the West-Eastern Divan Orchestra was founded by Daniel Barenboim, Edward Said, and Bernd Kaufmann in 1999 in Weimar, in Germany. Barenboim is an Argentinian-Israeli pianist and conductor, and Said was a professor of literature and one of the most important theoreticians of post-colonial studies. He was born in Mandatory Palestine and was a citizen of the United States. Yeah, and the Daniel Barenboim Foundation, as well as the Barenboim Said Academy and the Pierre Boulez Saal, which all were established as consequences of the Divan Orchestra, are based in Berlin. Since its foundation, the orchestra has received a lot of attention all over the world. They played in renowned concert halls in Berlin, New York, Buenos Aires, Moscow, Istanbul, and many places more. And yeah, what is special about the orchestra is that it mainly consists of Israeli and Arab and Palestinian musicians together. Every summer, the musicians meet in Seville in Spain for rehearsals, and from there they travel to play concerts all over the world. And in addition to playing classical music together, the orchestra and its founders are also committed to contribute to a peaceful solution to the Middle East conflict. So both the shared experience of making music and the political discussions they have in workshops shall contribute to a deeper reflection of ethnic hatred, of stereotypes, and of the conflicts of war. So the workshop part of the orchestra was introduced by Edward Said, but were continued after his death in 2003 by his daughter Mariam Said as a kind of piece work. Yeah, here's also a very recent picture of the orchestra. They played last year in Salzburg. Yeah. And to get an insight in the individual perspective on the orchestra, we interviewed one of its members. He said that the starting point all of the musicians in the Divan Orchestra share is their passion and their interest in classical music that is not always met with understanding or approval in their individual surroundings. So they come from places where it's not like a regular thing to learn to play classical music. And he explains that the structure of the orchestra itself also seems to be beneficial for the whole project in general to work. And what unites the musicians in the orchestra, he says, is that they share the same goal. They are working on the same projects in the orchestra, and they want to become a part of the professional classical music world. But now I want to, so yeah, besides the individual benefits you could see the musicians have in playing in this orchestra, there's also criticism about its political role.
I want to add about the experience from the interviews. We learned about the big gap between how the orchestra presents herself in the website to what actually happens in reality. They don't really do politics, and this is why it feels so utopian. We can learn from what that he doesn't know, that most of the work is about music and shows and like just being together, but not about politics. And I think that they're not really coming together. Like it's just the fact that the origin of the musicians is from the Middle East. That's the part of the East in this coming together, because they don't play Eastern music. Also, there's not a dialogue about the places, the heritage, the things they come from. It's only about music, and it's Western music.
It's not that they are related to their own traditional music in the traditional authentic ways of thinking, but only as a place that they were born, but not the traditional culture, not musician, not and not even with the instruments that they really try to combine in this orchestra, not at all. But it as it heard, because what we can hear, it's exactly what it is, a Western orchestra, which happened to be a base for let's say a Mediterranean players to be in the Western music field.